Hi again, it's time to start our preparation for the listening section Part A in the TOEFL ITP. In case you don't know the general structure of this section, I highly recommend you watch it so you can have a clear idea of how the examination is divided. If you know how the exam develops, just stay in here. Focus as you should while watching the video and as usual take notes for your further reference and study. Part A measures your ability to understand mini dialogues between two people and to answer a spoken question about every dialogue. Every dialogue is 2 sentences long and involves 2 speakers. A third person asks a question about the interaction. Remember that the dialogue and the question are played only once, so stay focused and open to every detail of information, vocabulary, intonation, and intention. After you hear the question, you have 12 seconds to read the 4 answer choices and decide what is the best answer to the question. There are 30 questions in Part A. Let's warm up with this example to your convenience. In this case, we omit the audio for a better understanding and explanation, and then we can practice with a real item. First, pay attention to this. You will hear, "Man, do you mind if I turn the computer off?" Woman, "Well, I am listening to a podcast." Question, what does the woman imply? You will read in your booklet, "The man should listen to the podcast." "The man should leave the computer on." "The podcast will be over very soon." "She'll listen to the podcast later." As you can see and hear, the questions are short and quick. However, several things are tested in just a matter of seconds. As you can see, the answer is not a literal yes or not, but we can understand that the answer is no because the woman is listening to a podcast and it hasn't finished yet. Now pay attention to the question because the key word in the question is imply. It means what the woman directly expresses through an idea what the man should do. We will cover in detail this vocabulary in the questions video. Now pay attention to the answers, and the only one that expresses "don't turn the computer off" is option B. The other answers are distractors that use the vocabulary from the conversation, but they are completely far from true. This was a lot of explanation for a quick dialogue, but it explains how deep these dialogues are, and their purpose is to measure your English level not only in terms of vocabulary or structure, but also in the real use and clear understanding. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will start with some practice. However, I have to mention something really important. I don't have any rights to publish material from any source that creates content for TOEFL. Although I have the books and the audio because this is something I usually practice in my daily life, I cannot copy and paste because that would be plagiarism and that is not a nice practice. Besides, and to make it more dramatic, it is really hard to have multiple speakers to produce material for you to hear in different contexts, speeds, tones, and accents. However, I have decided to use real conversations, real interviews, and some of them are not working in the terms that we need for your TOEFL preparation. But I discovered another source to give you real conversation and intonations. They are real speed, real vocabulary, real intonation, real context. After some analysis with some colleagues, we know for sure that these conversations are of much value because they are authentic and they go to the point we want to develop for TOEFL. However, there is only one thing which is not perfect. These conversations are not always between a man and a woman. Sometimes it is two men or two women, and sometimes teenagers' voices. But you can identify both speakers. Have a try and write in the comments if you feel comfortable with this material. And thanks for your support. Now let's practice with a real item. Remember, you have 12 seconds to answer before the next item starts. Here you go.
Number 1.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm being cute and spontaneous.
What does the man mean?
How was it? Did you get it? Let's try another one. Now, try 2 more in a row for you to feel the real speed and pressure.
Number 1.
I'm not one to complain.
That's why we like you.
What does the woman mean? Number 2.
Mom, I'm telling you, we didn't do anything.
Oh, you boys are up to something.
What does the woman mean?
Nice, this is how it happens in the exam. So far, we have the overview and practice. However, I know it is not enough to feel comfortable and ready for Part A. As a matter of fact, you need to know how the questions and answers are stated and what information is more important in every part. But honestly, that is too much information for this video. So check the next one for a deeper analysis. Meanwhile, consider listening to interviews as a personal strategy to train your ear in the real speed and intention of conversations. There are endless options online, but I highly recommend you listen to street interviews with authentic English, very similar to the TOEFL. Stay tuned for the next practices. Check this other video with awesome information about your TOEFL preparation or general level. Write in the comments how you are doing in your preparation. Write your questions and I would be so glad to help you. Don't forget to check the description for the answers and the transcription in the dialogues in case they were too difficult. But if you keep working, I promise everything will be easier. See you soon. Certify English, English for your goals.